In the spring of 1453, one of the most famous cities in the world stood on the brink of destruction. For more than 1,000 years, Constantinople had served as the capital of the Eastern Roman Empire. Its massive walls had turned back invading armies time and time again. Persians, Arabs, Bulgarians, and countless others had attempted to capture the city and failed. But now a new army had arrived outside its walls. It was led by a young and determined ruler named Mehmed II, the Sultan of the rapidly expanding Ottoman Empire. Behind him marched tens of thousands of soldiers, supported by artillery, engineers, and a fleet waiting in the nearby waters. With them came something the defenders of Constantinople had never faced before: enormous cannons, capable of shattering even the strongest fortifications. Inside the city, fewer than 8,000 defenders prepared for the coming siege. By the end of that spring, the last remnant of the Roman Empire would disappear from the map. For more than 1,000 years, the city of Constantinople had stood at the center of one of the most remarkable empires in history. Founded in the 4th century by the Roman Emperor Constantine the Great, the city was intended to serve as a new capital for the eastern half of the Roman world. Over time, it became the heart of what historians now call the Byzantine Empire. The people who lived there did not call themselves Byzantines. They considered themselves Romans, heirs to the traditions and institutions of the ancient Roman Empire. Constantinople stood at one of the most strategic locations in the world. The city was built along the narrow strait known as the Bosporus, which connects the Black Sea to the Mediterranean. Grain from the Black Sea, silks and spices from Asia, precious metals from Europe, and goods from the Middle East all moved through the markets of Constantinople. For centuries, this trade helped make the city wealthy and influential, a crossroads of commerce, culture, and religion. But Constantinople was not only rich, it was also one of the most heavily defended cities on earth. Its greatest protection came from the Theodosian walls, constructed in the 5th century during the reign of Emperor Theodosius II. These fortifications stretched nearly 4 miles across the western side of the city and were designed to stop even the largest invading armies. First came a wide defensive ditch. Behind it stood an outer wall lined with towers. Rising above that was the main inner wall, a massive stone barrier nearly 40 feet high, reinforced with powerful towers placed at regular intervals. For nearly 1,000 years, these walls had protected Constantinople from attack. The city was also defended by the sea. Along its northern side lay a deep natural harbor known as the Golden Horn. In times of danger, the Byzantines stretched a massive iron chain across the entrance to the harbor, preventing enemy ships from entering. Together, these defenses made Constantinople one of the most difficult cities in the world to conquer. Yet by the 15th century, the empire that had built these defenses had grown dangerously weak. Over the previous centuries, the Byzantine Empire had steadily lost territory to rising powers around it. Among these rising powers was a new and formidable force: the Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman Empire began as a small frontier state in the late 13th century. It was founded by a Turkish leader named Osman, from whom the empire took its name. At first, the Ottomans controlled only a modest territory along the borders of the Byzantine world. But over the next century, their power expanded rapidly. Ottoman rulers built a highly organized military state. Their armies combined skilled cavalry, disciplined infantry, and a government capable of supporting long military campaigns. One of the most famous elements of their military was the Janissary Corps. These were elite infantry soldiers, recruited through a system that brought young boys from Christian communities into Ottoman service. Trained from a young age and fiercely loyal to the Sultan, the Janissaries became one of the most formidable fighting forces of their time. By the early 15th century, Ottoman armies had already defeated several regional powers and established control over large portions of the Balkans. The Byzantine Empire had been reduced to little more than the city of Constantinople itself. When Mehmed II became Sultan in 1451, he was only 19 years old, but he possessed both ambition and determination. From the beginning of his reign, Mehmed made it clear that he intended to accomplish what many rulers before him had attempted. He would capture Constantinople. Mehmed II approached the task with careful planning. One of his greatest advantages would be artillery. A Hungarian engineer named Orbán had previously approached the Byzantine government with plans to build massive cannons, capable of breaking through the city's ancient walls. But the Byzantines lacked the money needed to fund such an ambitious project. When Orbán was turned away, he offered his services to the Ottomans instead. Under Ottoman patronage, Orbán constructed enormous bronze cannons capable of firing massive stone projectiles. Some of these weapons were so large, they required dozens of oxen and hundreds of men simply to transport them. In April of 1453, the Ottoman army arrived outside Constantinople. The siege began almost immediately. Ottoman cannons opened fire on the Theodosian walls, launching massive stone projectiles against fortifications that had stood for centuries. Day after day, the bombardment continued. Yet each night, the defenders worked to repair the damage. Meanwhile, the struggle extended to the sea. In one of the most remarkable engineering feats of the siege, Ottoman forces transported ships over land. Using greased wooden tracks, sailors and soldiers hauled dozens of ships across the hills north of the city and launched them into the Golden Horn. Suddenly, the defenders found themselves threatened from both land and sea. By late May, Mehmed II decided the time had come for a final assault. Inside the city, many of the defenders gathered for a final service in the great cathedral of Hagia Sophia. Before dawn on May 29th, the Ottoman attack began. Wave after wave of soldiers advanced toward the damaged sections of the wall. The defenders resisted fiercely, but the pressure was relentless. During the fighting, the Genoese commander, Giovanni Giustiniani, was severely wounded and forced to withdraw from the walls. Soon afterward, Ottoman soldiers broke through the defenses. Once the walls were breached, the outcome became inevitable. Ottoman forces poured into the city. Emperor Constantine XI refused to flee. According to later accounts, he removed the imperial symbols from his armor so he would not be recognized as emperor. He chose instead to fight as an ordinary soldier beside his men. During the final fighting, he was killed. With the emperor dead and Ottoman troops moving through the streets, Constantinople had fallen. After more than 1,000 years, the last remnant of the Roman Empire had come to an end. Later that day, Mehmed II entered the city. Constantinople would become the new capital of the Ottoman Empire. Over time, the city would come to be known by another name: Istanbul. The fall of Constantinople sent shockwaves throughout Europe. A legendary city had fallen, and with its capture, the Roman Empire had finally come to an end.